Guys, I'm back, and now we're going to actually alter a bit the circular weapon picker thingy we made previous time. We're going to make some classes. We're going to do the weapon bare bones for our project, and then we could do like dynamically something like that, whereas the black icons you see there are actually the icons of representing our weapons, like in Ratchet and Clank, for example. So let's get into it. We're going to go to project settings and add a couple of stuff, the fire and the alt fire, so left and right mouse button accordingly, and then we're going to create a new blueprint right there called weapon. Now this is supposed to be the parent class of all the guns we're going to make. So it's going to have some basic stuff like a level variable, XP, max level, ammo, max ammo, a weapon save instance, which I'm going to cover in a second, the weapon name, the weapon ammo class, which is supposed to be the class that's going to act as the ammo pack, the ammo pickup for our weapon, and then the icon, which is a texture 2D reference that we're going to set on the weapon class and whatever. As you can see, it's set to this gradient. That's why when I press the G button, this thing appears. Now, there we go. So we're going to do some stuff here. The first would be to make some custom events. Fire, alt fire. These are not our input actions. These are just custom events. Experience get, which actually is a simple leveling logic. For example, we just set the XP needed to level each time to 1000, and then just adding XP, checking if we can level up more. For example, our level is not equal to our max level. That means we can just go up a step, and if all these are true, then we level up and set our XP to 0. We've got an ammo get event, which is actually adding ammo, adding the amount of ammo we found at the ground on the actual ammo integer, then clamping it and setting the ammo. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Then the two main stuff. The first is the begin play, and the other one is the save custom event. These are actually made so on the begin play, whenever we like create the actor, it's going to check out for a save that has the weapon state. This is a save game blueprint class called weapon save that we're going to use, which is essentially level, current ammo, and XP. So we don't want the player to lose his progress, do we? So what it's basically doing, if there is no save game, then we're just going to set the current ammo to max ammo, and we're good to go. But if there is, we're going to load the save game from slot. The slot name is the weapon name, so there is less confusion, and we can just use one less variable. Then we're going to cast weapon save, which is our class with this stuff, and we're going to set the variables accordingly. When we hit save on a checkpoint, for example, before we hit the game, we're going to create a save game object of the class weapon save, then grab an instance so we can do stuff a little bit easier. Set the ammo, set the current level, set the current XP, and then just save with the slot name of weapon name, so it works. And that's basically it for the weapon. I'm going to show you in the future how to create different weapons, how to alter these variables in a children class. So, for example, the Omni wrench, the wrench that Ratchet uses, has got no ammo and is a melee weapon, where that's going to be an exception, as well as the gadgets are going to be an exception. But bear with me here, you will just get a better understanding as the series progresses. Now, of course, this stuff needs some initialization to happen. So on our third person character, I've altered the begin play a bit, and I've also added some new variables. So the weapon picker initialization is going to now happen after the gun roster initialization. I actually added two new variables, the current weapon and the weapon roster. The current weapon is of type weapon reference, but the weapon roster is an array of weapon references. So we're essentially just initializing it, just doing this thing 8 times with a simple for loop, spawning the weapon actor, setting its visibility to hidden each time, and then adding it to the weapon roster, so it's like the same slots as our menu right here, so it's like 8 items and no more, no less. And then on our weapon roster, we're going to set the current weapon to the 0 one and equip the 0 one as well. We just do that due to this function right there, because we need the current weapon variable to have something in it. We don't want to be empty in order for this to work, which is the new gun equip event. I altered the weapon class reference to an index, so if we just go on our picker, we just return the index instead of getting from the array that's gone now, if you remember for the previous tutorial. And then the attach from actor, if there is any, for example. If there is not, this is not going to even trigger. We're just going to go to the next step. We set our current weapon to our new weapon. This is the previous, now this is the new one. We attach it to our third person character in the socket name weapon slot. I actually went right there to our mannequin character, mesh and SK mannequin in the skeleton tab, and added on the hand R, which is the right hand, a new socket called weapon slot. That's what we're actually doing right there. And then setting its visibility to visible. Now I forgot to do one thing, which I'm going to do right now. I'm going to also get the current weapon and set its visibility to false, just because we need to maintain everything right there. So yeah, never mind, just do that, will you? So the new visibility is hidden because we only want our current weapon to be visible. So what else? We also have got this event pass through to the weapon class. So each time that we got an input action of fire and alt fire, we are just going to pass through these events to our custom events on the weapon class, which is fire and alt fire accordingly. This is just happening because we can't have input action and the other input stuff in our weapon actor. It just needs to happen in a pawn or a character or something of this kind. Now the next thing we want to cover is on the circular weapon picker again. I did a small modification. So if you go to the graph up there on our construct event, I added a new step, which is essentially getting the third person character, grabbing the weapon roster. Remember, this happens after we've initialized the whole guns thing, and that's for each loop. Now for every loop, it's going to grab the icon that we assign to each weapon, make it a brush essentially, and set it to the corresponding border from our border list. So we're having two parallel arrays. If you're a programmer, if you're not, it just happens in parallel. So every weapon in our weapon roster, we're going to grab its icon and set the according border from our border list. We're going to set it. We're going to set the brush from textures. So every one of this is getting one. So this would be index 0. It's going to get the 0 index weapon from our weapon roster, which is actually the first weapon. This is the second, yada yada yada, till we finish. That's why we want our weapon roster array to have 8 elements, which I do here. This is going to change. We're going to, in the next tutorials, do a save mechanic for which guns we're going to use, because we're going to have more than 8 guns and gadgets combined, right? This is a Ratchet clank game. We're supposed to have a huge arsenal, but for development purposes, we're just going to leave it like there, so we don't have weird crashes. And this tutorial is getting too long, so that's this stuff. And in the next tutorial, we're going to add some weapons and make them functional, make them appear in the hand, yada yada yada. Maybe do some animations. See you next time.